39 years had passed since Bjorn Borg first lifted Wimbledon's gold trophy. From 1978 to 1980, the Swede won at Roland Garros and was then equally invincible on the grass at Wimbledon, a feat that Rafa Nadal completed on 2 occasions. But it has been a problematical year for the man from Mallorca. Injuries, illness, and a self-admitted crisis of confidence saw him fall to number 10 in the world, his lowest ranking in a decade. In round 2, he faced a dangerous opponent, 6'5" Dustin Brown from Germany, an aggressive, unorthodox qualifier who had already defeated Rafa on grass once. The 30-year-old had never set foot on the world's most hallowed court before, but, as countryman Boris Becker once insisted about himself, it seemed the centre court was Brown's back garden. Rafa needed to tread carefully. Daring drop shots and raids to the net were plentiful, as the German frequently made Nadal look out of sorts. He took the first set. Nadal ventured forward, like his tenacious opponent, and claimed the second. But Brown continued to bewilder the 14-time Grand Slam champion with his wild but often brilliant game. The centre court crowd was torn between applauding for the popular Spaniard, an enduring favourite, or the Rastafarian showman who once travelled around the tennis circuit in a camper van. The world number 102 served magnificently throughout and completed the biggest victory of his career with an ace. His tactics were brilliantly devised and perfectly executed.
Obviously, I'm not unbeatable on this surface, but it comes more natural to me playing on this, especially with my type of game. I know that I can play really well on this, and I'm looking forward to the next match. Probably the best day of my life so far.
Acknowledging his father, tattooed on his torso, Dustin Brown knew he had outshone one of the game's brightest lights, but he had been helped by Rafa's lack of energy and authority.
This year I was ready to compete well, and I was playing well before that tournament. Had the right preparation, all the things that I thought that were going to be fine to try to play a good Wimbledon. But obviously today it's tough.
Ominously, it was his 4th straight Wimbledon defeat to one ranked outside the top 100.
Well, 3rd time in 4 years he lost before the 3rd round. And as mentioned, all of these 4 losses were to guys ranked outside the top 100, Mary. What was your reaction when you saw this?
Well, everyone knows that Rafa Nadal is going to try hard for every single point. So the strategy is to just let him not play. That sounds simple, but it's not easy, especially over 3 sets, which is why Rafa's had such a remarkable run at all of the majors. What this guy was able to do, I mean, this guy who measures his home by how many miles per gallon he gets on it. I mean, this guy, what Dustin Brown was able to do is what Nick Kyrgios had done the year before against the great Spaniard. Just not let him play. And it was remarkable to see. And we saw it a couple of years later when Gilles Muller, it took him 5 sets. We'll watch some of that later in this week. He was able to do the same thing. And Rafa tried everything, and he's always going to try everything. But it was this guy's day, and it was actually a beautiful thing to watch Dustin Brown come good like that.
Yeah, that's one of the hardest things, Mary, that you mentioned in today's game, particularly the last decade and a half, is game styles and court surfaces are so homogenized, right? We very rarely see a huge contrast. And on the grass courts at Wimbledon, even now, when you get someone with the flamboyance and shot-making skills of Dustin Brown, he's capable of making the greats uncomfortable. That's a really difficult thing to do. The question always is, and was on that day in particular, can Dustin Brown do it 3 out of 5 sets? And he did. It's so much fun to watch the shot-making skills, to watch his ability to create that discomfort, because it's something we're not used to. We're used to lateral tennis. We're used to very homogenized points in this era. So for me, to see the contrast and variation is one thing, but to see it and wonder if that person can do it against a great player, that's another task. So on this day, it was fun to watch, and Dustin Brown sure is a highlight reel.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think you hit it right there, Paul. It was fun to watch because Dustin Brown was so confident in his ability to keep coming forward, to keep coming to net. He came up with some amazing half volleys. He came up with some shots between the legs. He did everything he could to disrupt the rhythm of Rafa. For some players, they're not comfortable on grass. They're not comfortable moving forward time and time again. So it has to do sometimes with luck or unluck of the draw. If you're Rafa, a player who is very comfortable on grass, is very comfortable moving forward, digging out tough volleys, putting volleys away. And as you guys both said, to do it 3 out of 5 sets against someone like Rafa, who knows how to win these types of matches repeatedly, it was remarkable. And then you always wonder about the nerves. When you get to that closing, into the finish line, to that closing point, do the player's shots still hold up? I think that was what was so fun to watch about this particular match, was watching Dustin Brown still come up with those difficult shots in the pressure moments.
One thing Rafa's never done in his career, beat Dustin Brown. 0-2 lifetime. He has won Wimbledon twice, Mary, 2008, 2010. Does Rafa ever win the championships again?
Oh, no question. He's got as good a shot as just about anybody. What Rafa has done, what Bjorn Borg did 3 times, was win the French Open back when Roland Garros and Wimbledon were very different surfaces. Bjorn 3 times won in Paris and then won a couple of weeks later in London. And he was considered a clay court specialist, and then he won 5 Wimbledons. And Rafa wanted to pretty much have the same kind of career. I will always believe that anytime Rafa Nadal enters a tournament, he's aiming to win it.
All right, much more still to come here as we revisit the 2015 edition of Wimbledon. When we come back, we will have the final match of former champion Lleyton Hewitt's career at Wimbledon.